This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most, so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win.
Oregon taking down James Madison 51-34. Let's go over the highest graded player, starting off with the Oregon Ducks. Highest graded player for Oregon in this game was their running back, De'Aaron Hill Jr., 70.7. Wide receiver, Jeremiah McClellan, 83.7. Actually,
type that in wrong. That should be a 90.7.
90.7.
That one's on me.
90.7.
Early morning errors there. 90.7 for De'Aaron Hill.
I was going to say, all right, I feel like De'Aaron played a lot better than that. But yeah, 90.7 grade for De'Aaron Hill out there. Dylan Thieneman, our guy, 80.1. Wide receiver, Malik Benson, 73.6. Isaiah World, 73.3. And Dante Moore continues to show why he's one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football with a 90.4 grade against James Madison. Going from the Ducks to the Dukes here with James Madison's highest grade players. Offensive tackle Pat McMurdy with a 77.3 grade. Landon Ellis, the wide receiver, 75.3. Linebacker Trent Hedrick, 72.6. Another linebacker here. And Drew Spinogatti with a 71.5. Carter Sweezy, the guard, 70.5. And Alonzo Barnett, the third, with a 54.9. Dalton, what told the story in this game?
Had to real quickly shout out Hill there also. He came in pretty well under our usual 25 snap minimum. He only played 15 snaps, but in those 15 snaps, he got 6 touches for 115 yards.
Yep.
And a touchdown.
He deserves to be on that graphic.
Yeah, I was like, I got to put him in there. 90.7 there for De'Aaron Hill, and that group of running backs has been so good. I mean, it's obviously this game. Look, James Madison, they were overmatched. Certainly, the first half of this game is the story. It was 34-6 at halftime. The game was over at halftime, despite the final score and the backdoor cover, I believe, there from James Madison. And that's a subject also for with regard to Dan Lanning. We'll talk about in a minute. But the first half, I mean, that's all you can really say. You watch the first half of this game and you go, Oregon took care of business. 6 drives, 6 real drives for Oregon in the first half, 5 touchdowns and a Dante Moore interception that was not his fault. His receiver ran into a defender and all of that. 92.1 offensive grade, 14.4 yards per play in the first half, and a solid 69.8 defensive grade. James Madison, 6 offensive drives in the first half, 3 punts, 2 field goals. Moved the ball at times. They created some explosives. It was a trick play as well, worked in there. 4.2 yards per play, though, pretty inconsistent. 112 of their 197 yards came on 4 explosives out of 47 total plays. So, I mean, it really was. It felt like you watched this game early on, and it was size and speed.
Yeah.
Right. Oregon just had a definitive size and speed advantage, especially getting the ball out to the perimeter. It's all the great playmakers they have. It really was. It's funny because Oregon in the first half of this game, they took care of business. The game was over. And yet Dan Lanning was real upset for the way that they played in the second half. Got outscored 28-17, and it just shows you, I think we've joked about it before with some of the guys in this Nick Sabin tree, how it's like, they're always pissed off, right? Nick Sabin, Kirby Smart, Kurt Cignetti, and the way Kurt Cignetti certainly is the poster child for, he's up 45-0 and he still looks angry about something. Dan Lanning's got a little bit of that too. And there were talks about there was no music in the post-game locker room afterward. It seemed like kind of almost like, I think it was Malik Benson had said it felt like we lost. Like we went in there and it felt like we lost the game because Dan Lanning was not happy with the way his team played in the second half and wasn't thrilled with the way they finished. I think James Madison had touchdowns. It was their final 3 drives they had touchdowns on. So you look at that, and I think Oregon knows that if they play up to their full potential, as they did in the first half of this game, they're a dark horse to win the whole thing.
Oh, they absolutely are.
They're capable of beating anyone in the country, but yes, you do respect, obviously, Lanning's mentality. And I'll tell you what, he's right. If you don't play a full 60 minutes against Texas Tech,
oh, yeah, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. And he knows that for sure. But they took care of business. As far as the 60 minutes that were played on the field, the first 30 was really the story.
You mentioned that Kirby Smart, and Signetti are all in like the Nick Saban mold. Well, they all were Nick Saban assistants at one point, too.
Exactly.
So
it's just that
they all learned.
There is a certain way of doing
perfection
things.
or nothing.
Yeah.
I don't care what the score. I never forget, Dalton, watching the Alabama-Notre Dame national title game when Alabama just put a beat down on Notre Dame. I think it was like 42-0 was the final score of that game. And in that game with 3 minutes left, they're up by, I think, 42-0. And you would think when you're about to win a national title and you're up by 42 points with 3 minutes left, you'd be like, okay, we can celebrate a little bit now on the sideline. Sabin was chewing out his players on the sideline.
And you remember,
like,
that was the same, isn't that same game where, was it a delay of game and A.J. McCarron was just ripping his center too? And I think A.J. just named the head coach of the Birmingham Stallions, right? In the UFL, we'll see A.J. McCarron as a UFL head coach.
And he'll probably have the same attitude.
Might be the same way as he might be UFL Nick Saban. Boy, oh boy. And taking over, I think, a 3-time champion team over there from Skip Holtz.
I think he played for them too, right?
McCarron?
Or maybe not.
I don't know if he played for the Birmingham team. I thought he might have played.
Let me see.
Now you got me on this one. He played
St.
for
Louis Battlehawks. He did. You're right.
He played for Bruce Gradkowski in the Battlehawks.
Yeah, finished playing 2 years ago, and now he's a head coach.
Hey.
Pretty good.
If he's anything like the rest of the guys in this
two-time national champ, A.J. McCarron, one of the only quarterbacks ever to do that, honestly.
But that's the idea is Lanning, it's going to be so interesting to see how they come out because they're going to – what a great football game that's going to be. I can't wait for that one.
That's the most must-see game of the quarterfinals in my
Both
opinion.
of those teams are going to have to play the full 60 minutes because they're so well-rounded. You got the great quarterback in Dante Moore. You got the offensive line that was great again in this game, and then two teams again with just fantastic defenses. Can't wait for it. And Lanning, I do find it interesting that the big story coming out of the post-game was Lanning basically saying, hey, this wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
This was not good enough, and especially in the second half. Probably going into halftime, he felt pretty good about it, but the way they played the second half, he knows you got to finish ball games. You got to play the full 60 because now it's going to be the road is going to be at Texas Tech and then either in Indiana or in Alabama and then somebody on the other side of the bracket is really good too if he's going to get all the way there. So he knows this team's going to have to play a more complete game than they did in the second half, and I respect that. I really do. That's really something to come out of this game and go, hey, we have a lot to get better at still. As a great team we are.
Again, that shows that Dan Lanning is one of the elite coaches in college football. The fact that beating a team 51-34 in a college football playoff game is not enough for him. I think that shows just how awesome of a coach he is, and why if I could buy stock in almost any coach in the country, probably Dan Lanning first for me. I think he's not even a rising star anymore. He is a star in college football right now. I want to shout out the Oregon offense, 9.7 yards per play for the Ducks. And listen, I know it is a group of 6 defense. It is the best group of 6 defense that we have in James Madison, and yet Oregon still averaged basically a first down per play and put up 51 points on James Madison with 514 total yards, 199 rushing yards for Oregon with 7.7 yards per carry, 300 passing yards for Dante Moore. Actually, Dalton, our producer Eli had a bet on Dante Moore to hit 300 plus passing yards, and I believe it was a correction that got him to 300 at the very end of it too. So you got a big boost on it to win that bet too. Shout out Eli for that.
He should get an extra boost for getting exactly 300.
Exactly 300.
Sure.
Yeah,
he didn't even need the plus.
Yeah,
should have just called out exactly 300. Man, but I mean Dante. I know you're going to go more into it. Dante was unreal,
dude. I'll talk about him in a second.
This is just if he's going to play at this level, they are fully capable of winning the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. 11.5 yards per pass for Oregon, and listen. You go from the best group of 6 defense in James Madison to the best defense overall in college football in Texas Tech coming up very soon. Oregon keeps playing like this. They are going to be a dangerous team, not only for Texas Tech, but to win the whole damn thing for their first ever national title. So, yeah, Oregon's offense was so awesome in this game. If you told me James Madison would score 34 points on Oregon, I'd be like, they're in trouble. They might lose that game. Yeah, but the fact they put up 51 points with 10 yards per play against, like I said, what's been an elite defense in James Madison all year, that was very, very impressive.
No, absolutely. I mean, that JMU team, they certainly they earned their keep this season, and that defense was the biggest reason. They've got studs on that defense, but Oregon, the biggest thing, again, kind of like the Ole Miss game, too, was just the difference in team speed. Really, the Oregon was getting the ball out to the perimeter. And how about Dante Moore? 2.03 seconds on the average time to throw, and still attacking downfield with a 10.5-yard average depth of target, 4 of 5 on the deep ball. I mean, just they had it working. They just had it working. And this offensive line, and it's going to be the ultimate test now going forward for this offensive line going into this Texas Tech game. But outstanding again between the time to throw for Moore and then the O-line is just great as always. Only under pressure one time the entire game.
I'll tell you what, Dan Lanning, I know he's not thrilled with this game. You know who is thrilled with this game? Kentucky fans. They watch this game, and they go, damn, we're getting a good one in Will Stein, man.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I can't wait to see him at Kentucky, man, because he is an awesome, awesome offensive coordinator. He had an awesome game plan in this one against, again, a really good James Madison defense. Who do you want to shout out, Dalton, for most impressive?
Well, I know Dan Lanning's a little worried about his defense and the way they played in the second half. The one guy he doesn't have to worry about, one of my favorite players in the country, the safety, Dylan Thieneman. Once again, just outstanding. 7 tackles. 80.9 coverage grade, highest graded defensive player for Oregon's team. 6 targets in his direction, 3 catches allowed, 5 yards, 1 pass breakup. Dylan Thieneman, to me, kind of like I talked about before, in a different way, because Keontae Scott from Miami's a nickel, and he really plays in the slot and down in the box a lot, and Thieneman does too, a good amount, but the glue that holds that whole secondary together. It's Dylan Thieneman. He's been everything that Dan Lanning could have asked for and more, transferring in from Purdue. Just an outstanding player. I still think easily should be a top 50 prospect in this coming draft.
Agreed.
And he's the guy on this defense. We're going to talk about Caleb Downs at Ohio State, KJ Bolden, for Georgia, Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker at Texas Tech. There's always one guy in great defenses that you have to account for on every single play. In this defense, it's Dylan Thieneman. He's everywhere all the time. He's blazing fast, and he's so much better and more versatile than he used to be. We knew him at Purdue as arguably the best single high safety in the country, right? That true Earl Thomas kind of free safety back there, just hunting down passes in center field. Now he's everywhere. He's a true, complete safety, and I think that's really what's going to make him a legitimate player in the NFL, is that he can do anything, and he does it at 100 miles an hour.
And I remember last year when Thieneman didn't have that great of a sophomore year, and we're saying, well, listen, Purdue put him in the box. What the hell were they doing out there? Turns out it's probably more of a Purdue problem than a Dylan Thieneman problem, because now it goes to Oregon, and he's still not playing that much as a single high free safety. Like you said, he's playing in the box a lot more too, and he's still an awesome football player. He showed that, after his true freshman year, Dalton, I said, hey, he's a great single high center fielder, free safety. Don't do anything else with him. Now he's showing this year he could do whatever you want for that defense, honestly.
Am I right in calling out a stat that I think you did one week? Isn't it Oregon runs as much or maybe the most quarters of any team in the country?
Yeah.
Right? And it's a completely different responsibility you're talking about there for the safety when you're playing that deep quarter, when you're having to match guys coming out of the slot especially. So, no, Thieneman, just outstanding stuff, honestly, once again. And if there's a guy Dan Lanning doesn't have to worry about moving forward, it's number 31.
Harbs in the chat saying Thieneman is Harrison Smith 2.0.
I'm in on that.
All right. I'll draft that.
Stylistically, I've no issue. Because, Smith it's the same idea. You can put him anywhere. Even now, as an older veteran, maybe lost a half a step from his prime days, but you can put him anywhere, and the football IQ is just off the charts.
Yeah, absolutely. So a guy who should be a top 50 pick at least in the draft, Dylan Thieneman, to a guy who should be a top 5 pick at least in the draft, and Dante Moore, who has just been on fire so far. 90.1 passing grade in this game, 300 exact yards on this one, 4 touchdowns, 3 big-time throws. He did have 2 interceptions. I would say one of them was not his fault, though, because his receiver just fell down on the route. But Dante Moore, dude, this guy is unfreaking believable right now. He's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. And Dalton, I know this is a hot take considering how good Mendoza was this year. If I am a team like the Raiders and I need a quarterback, the first guy I'm taking is Dante Moore. Right now, he is my number 1 quarterback in the draft. I know it might be a hot take.
No, I think there's a case. I think at this point, and there's a legitimate chance this happens, this could be settled head-to-head.
Yep.
That's
going to be unreal.
And you look at Moore, there's only 3 games you really look at that he struggled. The Wisconsin and the Iowa games. And the Iowa game, he came out with the big throw to win the big game, to win the game essentially at the end. Those 2 games were pouring rain. The Wisconsin game, it was just nobody would be capable of throwing a ball in the conditions they played in. The Iowa game, good defense, physical defense, great, the lowest explosive pass rate in the country, and raining that night. And then the Indiana game, where that was the one game in clean conditions where he didn't look great because Indiana got pressure. They won the battle against this great offensive line. So that's what I want to see now. This was obviously JMU's got a really good defense, and I'm not trying to say, it wasn't a hard assignment, But he made it look like a pretty easy assignment out there. Now you've got Texas Tech. You win that game, you get a great defense in either Indiana or Alabama. And then if you get to the Natty, you're going to play somebody with a great defense. That's just a fact. So Dante's got a chance to prove it. He does. And now, tell you what, he's been on such a hot streak lately. He's now second in the nation in passing grade behind Julian Sand. So you're talking about a guy who maybe just maybe didn't get enough love as a potential Heisman finalist. Because his name never really came up when it was, we're talking Jeremiah Love and obviously Pavia and Sayan and Mendoza, Jacob Rodriguez, right? Maybe Dante's a guy who should have been a little more in that consideration, at least as a finalist, but he's been playing his best football over the last month, and he to me and the offensive line are really what those two things are what makes this team capable of beating anybody in this field. It's why, to me, they're the most dangerous team outside of the top 4 that could win a national title.
Dante Moore is the hottest quarterback in America right now. More than Mendoza, more than Julian Say, more than anyone else. Since week 12, Dante Moore has a 93.1 passing grade. It's almost 3 points higher than any other quarterback in college football. His last 4 games, Dalton, he has a 90.3 passing grade against Minnesota, then an 85.7 against USC, then a 90.7 against Washington, and then a 90.1 against James Madison. This guy is on a heater right now. And I think Texas Tech, it has the best defense in the country. I cannot wait to see the best defense in America against what right now is the hottest quarterback in America.
No, absolutely. And you talked about in this game, maybe a little bit of preparation. Remember, I just talked about that average time to throw in this game, 2.03. You look at how quickly he's been getting rid of the football lately. 2.44, 213, 235, 209, 259, 203. He's been getting rid of the football quicker.
That'll do.
Seeing defenses quicker. You're going to need that against this Texas Tech team. We're going to talk about it, obviously, more preview shows tomorrow.
Actually, that probably will be the previews, whether or not Dante Moore can do that.
Yeah.
Just get it out that quick.
And win. We're going to have to – I forget which one of us has them. I think I'll have the Oregon passing game because I did the run game this week. So
okay, yeah, then you would.
I'll look more into that. But his ability to beat that pass rush. And look, his offensive line, too, they're going to be put to the test, obviously. But half of that task, we've talked about it, when you're playing against a Miami or another great pass rush like that, you got to get rid of the football.
Yep.
Right? And if Dante is even better than ever at doing that and reading defenses and getting the ball out in 2.5 or less, we're going to have a really good football game in our hands.
If your O-line can't protect you, protect yourself. And Dante Moore's doing a really good job of that right now. So Oregon beating James Madison 51-34. Oregon moving on to the college football playoff quarterfinals to take on Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. How about this, Dalton? The first Oregon playoff win since 2014. When they made the national title game.
In
the first year of the playoff. Those are last playoff wins. Of course, they lost last year to Ohio State in the first game they played. So shout out to Oregon for finally getting the monkey off their back and winning a playoff game.
Hey, they're loaded. They are loaded.
Yep.
And if Dan Lanning is correct and they're still not playing their best football, boy, they're a prime contender. They are. And they, at least for my eyes and what I saw for at least the first half of this game, which is really the only part that mattered when it came to the result, boy, they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah.
We're about to get a really good football game in that 4-5 matchup.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth. And the truth is, most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok crews sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff. Because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter, by game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.